بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته الحمد لله وحده والصلاة والسلام على من لا نبي بعده أما بعد. Inshallah, this week we'll begin the next surah, which is Surah Al-Tin. And before we discuss any more about Surah Al-Tin, inshallah, have one of our young aspiring Hufaz to read verses. You got this, or should I put on you? Go ahead, introduce yourself.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والتين والزيتون وطور سينين وهذا البلد الأمين لقد خلقنا الإنسان في أحسن تقويم ثم رددناه أسفل سافلين إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات فلهم أجر غير ممنون فما يكذبك بعد بالدين أليس الله بأحكم الحاكمين صدق الله العظيم. My name is Abdullah and I am 10 years old.
Okay, where were we? جزاك الله خيرا, may Allah increase you. Alhamdulillahi wahda, wassalatu wassalam ala man la nabiyya ba'da, amma ba'd. Here we go. Surah Al-Tin. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala begins Surah Al-Tin with an oath that He takes, and He actually takes 4 oaths. What tin? He takes an oath by the tin, the fig. Was zaytun? He takes an oath by the olive. Waturi sinin? He takes an oath by the Mount Sinai. Wahadha al-balad al-amin? He takes an oath by this secure or peaceful city, which refers to Makkah al-Mukarramah. لَقَدْ خَلَقْنَا الْإِنسَانَ فِي أَحْسَنِ تَقْوِيمٍ. Then He tells us that He has created mankind the best of forms. ثُمَّ رَدَدْنَاهُ أَسْفَلَ سَافِلِينَ. Then we have, meaning Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has, brought them to the lowest of the low. إِلَّا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ. Except for those who believe and they do righteous acts. فَلَهُمْ أَجْرٌ غَيْرُ مَمْنُونَ. For them is a never-ending reward. فَمَا يُكَذِّبُكَ بَعْدُ بِالدِّينِ. So, after what's been said, مَا يُكَذِّبُكَ, what will make you disbelieve? What will make you deny? بَعْدُ, after this, بِالدِّينِ, disbelieve in the religion or the day of judgment. أَلَيْسَ اللَّهُ بِأَحْكَمِ الْحَاكِمِينَ. Is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala not the greatest of all the rulers? So this is the translation. Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhuma and others, actually there's a bit of a debate over here. Some scholars say it's the Makki surah, and that's the majority of the ulama. A smaller group of ulama, they said it's the Madani surah, meaning it was revealed later, and it was revealed in the time post-Hijrah. Regardless, we see right away that Allah Ta'ala begins by taking oath on 4 things. Anytime Allah Ta'ala takes oath, we need to look at a couple of things. Number 1, what is He taking oath on? Because whatever He's taking oath on, that's going to be very special. Whatever He's taking oath on is going to be very special. He's not going to take oath on random things. Secondly, after that, what is He proving through His oath? That's going to be important as well. So if I say, I swear by Allah, Wallahi, I didn't do, maybe you accuse me of something, you accuse me of stealing your car, so I say, Wallahi, I didn't do it. Now, I'm taking oath on Allah, the most special of anything that could be special. And then what am I proving? That I didn't steal your car. I've slashed the tires, but I didn't steal the car, right? So that's what we're doing over here. So Allah is taking oath on 4 things. So when He takes an oath on more than one item, first of all, as mentioned before, Allah does not have to take an oath on anything. فَبِأَيِّ حَدِيثٍ بَعْدَهُ يُؤْمِنُونَ. Allah's statements are going to be the most true statements. Allah Ta'ala, when He speaks, anything, when He says, when He relays a message, anything message He's giving us will always be truthful. We have complete faith in the truth of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because first of all, He created everything. All truth comes from Him. But secondly, when a person lies, it shows weakness. Let's say about the whole car situation. I'm sorry about it, by the way. The car situation, I say I didn't do it, but I really did do it. Now, why would I say I didn't do it? Because I'm afraid maybe he'll beat me up. Maybe he'll call the cops. Maybe he'll do something else. So now, out of weakness, the vulnerability here, out of fear, I'm going to now try to help myself by lying. But who can do anything to Allah? No one, nothing can harm Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. قَادِرٌ عَلَى كُلِّ شَيْءٍ. He has power, strength, might over everything. So nothing, no one can ever harm or give any difficulty to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So as a result, we have to ask ourselves the following question. Why would Allah make an oath when there's never a reason for Him to lie? He doesn't lie. He makes an oath not to defend Himself, but He makes an oath to show us what is special, the items He's taking oath by. And number two, to show what He's saying is extremely important. The entire Quran is complete with wisdoms from Allah. It could be about the oneness of God. It could be about previous communities, about prophethood, the reality of the Day of Judgment, about the stories of the prophets. There's so many things we can discuss. Certain things Allah wants to draw our attention to. And there He often takes oath. So these 4 oaths, which we're going to go into in a moment, all of these are going to prove a principle. And what is that principle? لَقَدْ خَلَقْنَا الْإِنسَانَ فِي أَحْسَنِ تَقْوِيمٍ ثُمَّ رَدَدْنَاهُ أَسْفَلَ سَافِلِينَ. That's the principle that Allah wants to emphasize. But when He's going to emphasize that principle, which I'll translate in a few moments, He begins by taking oath on the Zayt and the Zaytun. Now, if He said Turi Sinin, fine. That's a huge mountain, not only in terms of its actual structure, but a mountain in our religious and our political history. The Mount of Sinai. That's important. Balad al-Amin, referred to with Makkatul Mukarramah by the majority. This is going to be a very important place. So taking oath by these 2 things, fine. But taking oath on the Deen and Zaytun, on a fig and on an olive, why is that so important? So the ulama, they go into a lot of detail. Imam Qurtubi goes into 3 whole sections of details, which I'm not going to cover today, because that conversation itself would take about 20 minutes to go through, because there's different interpretations what Deen and Zaytun can mean. But let's begin. First of all, nothing is too small for Allah to take oath by if it's important. إِنَّ اللَّهَ لَا يَسْتَحْيِي أَن يَضْرِبَ مَثَلًا. Allah is not shy. He's not embarrassed. It's not beneath Him to take an oath. إِنَّ اللَّهَ لَا يَسْتَحْيِي أَن يَضْرِبَ مَثَلًا مَا بَعُودَةً وَمَا فَوْقَهَا. To take an oath on something as small as a mosquito or a gnat, or فوقها. فوقها doesn't mean bigger or above in this case. It means even more small. So Allah can take oath on something that's as big as a mosquito or a gnat, or even smaller. Now you might say, what's smaller? وَالسَّمَاءِ ذَاتِ الرَّجْعِ. Allah takes oath by those specks that in the daylight, if it's a bright sunny day outside, and all these lights are out, and then you're maybe at class, you're over here, you're sitting in class, you're in chemistry, like, oh my God, I need to go home, I'm falling asleep. And you look out the window and you see that bright light coming in, and all around you is just boredom, and then you see these little specks floating, because the sun is hitting the angle of the sun coming in is hitting these small specks, and you see them in the air. Allah takes oath by that. Now someone might laugh at that, but it has its importance. What's its importance? If those specks, the returning atmosphere wasn't there, then the sun would not, its light would not reflect off these things. We wouldn't have illumination here. Because the deep darkness, the abyss of space is closer to the sun, and yet it's not lit up. Why? It doesn't have وَالسَّمَاءِ ذَاتِ الرَّجْعِ. So Allah takes oath by something, whether or not we know its importance, it's going to be important. So that's lesson number 1. So now in our lives, let's ask ourselves a question. Are teen and zaytun a part of our lives? If they're not, why not? Why not? These are 2 small things that we can begin to relish, enjoy, partake in. They're delicious. They're very beneficial. There's a hadith that's mentioned over here. There's a few different things mentioned here. إِنَّهُ يَقْطَعُ الْبَوَاسِيرِ وَيَنْفَعُ مِنَ النَّقْرِسِ. That what do these 2 things do? They stop certain diseases like gout. They push away gout. They push away hemorrhoids. Bawasir. So here Allah Ta'ala is taking oath. Now someone might be like, okay, what's the big deal? When Allah takes oath in something, hidden inside it will be a benefit. Whether or not we learn the benefit, we should partake in it because something special will be there. Allah is not random. Allah doesn't waste His time. I mean, time is a creation of Allah. He doesn't use extra words. Everything has an intent and a purpose, and sometimes we won't know it. But we can still delve into it whether or not we know what it is. So in one narration it mentions, we know Maqatil rahmatullahi alayhi, Ata rahmatullahi alayhi, Ibrahim and Hassan rahimahumullah, Mujahid rahmatullahi alayhi, Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu, and others. They speak what? They say that Zaytunakum, this zaytun, Zaytunakum, this, the olive, this is going to be, they said, Tinakum, the fig, تأكلون, you should eat from it. وَزَيْتُونَكُمْ هَذَا الَّذِي تَعْصِرُونَ مِنْهُ الزَّيْتِ. You should take the olives and squeeze and get this oil out of it. Why? Because there's benefit. Olive oil has benefit. Consuming it, using it in certain ways on the skin has benefit. But it doesn't matter to us. We accept the oath. And then specifically it said that the fig was taken oath by because this is going to be a fruit that they're accustomed to, and it will have a similar fruit in paradise. So Allah is introducing us here to something greater in paradise. And then the zaytun has many, many benefits as well. Let's move on. Some scholars say these are majaz. It's not haqiqi. It's haqiqi as well. It's literal, but it's also metaphorical. It's referring to something. And what is that? You could say kinaya. There's a kunya of something. It's referring to something else. And what is that? Some scholars, they say that when Allah says teen over here, what is He referring to? He's actually referring to masjid of the people of Kahf. And zaytun is going to refer to a different. So some scholars say it's Masjid al-Aqsa. Some say it's the mountain or the area, the cave of the Kahf, where they prayed. Some say it's Masjid of Damascus. There's different interpretations. That Allah is actually taking oaths by certain cities, and He's taking it based upon their dominant fruit or what people consume. وَطُورِ سِينِينَ. And over here, this is the mountain الَّذِي كَلَّمَ اللَّهُ تَعَالَى مُوسَى عَلَيْهِ السَّلَامِ. This is where Allah spoke to Musa alayhi salam. When Musa alayhi salam was traveling back from being in service of 8 to 10 years, having gotten married, after he escaped from Egypt, after accidentally killing someone, when he's coming back, they sort of get lost. He sees a fire. It's still, and he tells his wife that I'm going to go and see. Maybe I can get some guidance from it or some benefit. When he goes there, that's where Allah Ta'ala now communicates to Musa alayhi salam, and He speaks to him كَمَا يُلِيقُ بِالشَّأْنِ, in a way that's appropriate to Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. That's Tur Sinin. Tur Sinin is such a valuable place that even the Prophet according to hadith, when he left Makkatul Mukarramah on the Isra and Mi'raj, imagine, his 2.5 years he's been boycotted. He sees close members of his friend circle and family circle be abused, and some pass away, including his wife Khadija radiallahu anha and his uncle Abu Talib. Then he goes to Ta'if. When he goes to Ta'if, he's chased away and stones are thrown at him, and he hits a low point in his life, but he still has faith in Allah. There's difficulty returning back to Makkah al-Mukarramah. And how does Allah take him out of this low, difficult position? Low in the worldly sense. In Allah's eyes, and in reality, it wasn't low at all. Because when you sacrifice for Allah, there's nothing lowly about it. Anyway, so how does Allah reward him? What Allah does is then Allah raises him in something called the Isra and the Mi'raj. The Isra is the night journey. It starts here in Makkah al-Mukarramah, it ends over here in Masjid al-Aqsa. There were multiple stops on that night journey. One stop was Tur Sinin. One stop was the Prophet ﷺ stopped off. Jibreel alayhi told him to pray 2 rakah. Later he explained to him that what? These 2 rakah that you prayed were at the place that Musa alayhi Allah spoke to him. So it's a very important place. Well, Tur Sinin, where did I go? I lost it. Okay, here. Then we have وَهَذَا الْبَلَدِ الْأَمِينَ. And this Balad al-Amin, what does this refer to? This is going to refer to Makkah al-Mukarramah according to the majority. This is where Islam came. This is you and I, we're sitting here. Look, you can have wealth, and may Allah increase your wealth and put barakah in it. You can have life. May Allah increase your life and put barakah in it. You can have a marriage. May Allah make your marriage enjoyable, increase it in good, and put barakah in it. You can have family. May Allah increase your family and put barakah and ease and happiness in it. You can have a home. May Allah make it an enjoyable home, a comfortable home. May He put barakah in it. You could have anything, education, knowledge, etc. But if a person doesn't have deen, they have nothing. If a person has no deen, they have nothing. Look, I'm a trainer part-time. So sometimes I have people come and they train, and they want to transform their bodies. If there's a person who is completely jacked, like 42-inch biceps, 8-pack, whatever the case may be, but the person has no soul in him, I would say her, but I don't train females. So no soul in him, versus a person who's clearly out of shape, but has a soul inside. Which one's more beneficial? The one with the soul, even though they're out of shape. 2 steps up the stairwell, they're panting, they think they're having a heart attack, they're sweating, but they still have more benefit than that other individual. The greatest benefit comes through deen. There are good people out there, but the far-reaching nature of their benefit without Islam is going to be restricted. And that's a whole different conversation as to why that's the case. Inshallah, a different time. But هَذَا الْبَلَدِ الْأَمِينَ, Allah now swears on the city through which all of the world can benefit. Now you might say, what do you mean by that? Just think for a moment. The financial crises that this world is experiencing, had the Islamic financial system that prohibits interest, that does not allow oppressive loans, that gives mandatory from the wealthy to the poor. Can you imagine the billionaire Muslims out there, the kings, the princes, whatever the case may be, if they all gave zakah, what's 2.5% of $100? 25 cents. What's $2.50? What's 2.5% of $1,000? $25. What's 2.5% of $10,000? $250. What's 2.5% of $100,000? $25,000, right? It's 2,500. 2,500. 2,500, yes. 2,500. What is it? 100,000. What's 2.5% of $1 million? $25,000. There's millionaire Muslims out there. Where are the $25,000 going? Add 3 more to make it $1 billion. 25,000 becomes what? 25 million. For a billionaire, it's not that much. You might think that's a lot. Go to these universities. Go to Harvard. Go to Yale. Go to Northwestern. Go to University of Chicago. People put millions down so they could have their family name on top of the engineering hall or the medical school building, etc. And it doesn't hurt them at all. And Allah is saying, you need to do this to the poor. 8 categories of people you need to help them with. Can you imagine if the Muslims actually did this? What would happen to poverty? It would be an entirely different world out there. And then interest is removed. You can still make money, you can still invest, but interest is removed. What happened in Makkah didn't just occur so you and I can sit here today and pray and bow down and, maybe grow a beard or wear a loose garment. That's not why it happened. It came to take people who are struggling with their emotional intelligence and teach them how to be a good spouse. Teach them how to be a good child, how to be a good friend, how to be a good neighbor, how to be a good colleague. It came to take people who were struggling with their mental health and give them hope. It came to take people whose neighbors would have otherwise been abandoned, and now they have a Muslim neighbor next to them, and now their driveways are shoveled for them, or soup is made for them when they're sick. This is what it came for. Of course prayer is there, no one's doubting that. Of course Hajj is there, no one's doubting that. Of course fasting is there, no one's doubting that. But 75 to 80% of the deen is taking care of people, حقوق العباد. And that started in Makkah al-Mukarramah. That started in Makkah al-Mukarramah. So Allah is taking oath by this. Now these 4 oaths that Allah is taking, why is He taking these 4 oaths? To remind us, لَقَدْ خَلَقْنَا الْإِنسَانَ فِي أَحْسَنِ تَقْوِيمٍ. All of you were made in the best of forms. You're the best of form. Is there a creation stronger than you? 100%. A gorilla can far out bench press anything I can ever do if it does the movement. Are there things faster than you? Oh yeah, a cheetah can outrun me. Probably can outrun me when I'm driving my car. Are there things that are louder? Oh yeah, definitely. The lion, the tiger's roar. The lion's roar is a little weak. The tiger's roar? Oh, definitely louder than my voice. Are there things that can carry more weight than I can ever carry? Oh yeah, an ant. Its structural ability to build tunnels underground and then to build a home above it to protect itself. Things that fly better than us? Absolutely. Swim better than us? Absolutely. Communicate better underwater? Well, yes. There's certain animals, they don't need Wi-Fi to communicate. They have that ability. So it's there. Now you come back to us. So how are we the best of form if there are things that are better than us? Why? Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He made us jami'. He made us the collection of all good form. Our physical form, where we are weak, our intelligence helps fix that. So though we can't fly with our own arms, the intelligence Allah gave us and the limbs He gave us can now manipulate something so heavy. You took a piece of metal, throw it off the building, it's going to come crashing down. And we're flying hundreds of feet, thousands of feet in the air through it. What's up? Oh, I don't know. I didn't see it. So he had a very important Transformers question he had to ask me. I don't know. Sorry. Should I open it more? Yeah, okay. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He gave us this form. The form that we have is an honored form. Ahsani taqweem. There's an interesting story that is mentioned in Tafsir. Is in the time of a Khalifa, I want to say Abu Ja'far al-Mansur. So one of the governors or the caliph is in the Abbasid Empire. He loved his wife dearly. He thought there's no one more beautiful than his wife. So I don't know, you read the books of fiqh and history, people made just weird oaths all the time. So he said to his wife, they're sitting on the rooftop and they're enjoying the beauty of the moon, and he said that if the moon is more beautiful than you, then you have 3 irrevocable divorces from me. Why would you even say that? So she went in the house, she put on her veil, covered herself, and she stayed away from her husband. She's like, we're divorced now. The moon is more beautiful than everything. So he's like, oh, wait, you're right. So he starts calling this faqih and this faqih and this faqih and this faqih. And none of them can help because they're like, unfortunately, she's right. So he calls the fuqaha of the community and he sits them in front of him and he says, what do you think? And they said, she's divorced. Unfortunately, whatever drove you, whatever weird madness you had that made you make that oath, she's divorced now. He's like, there has to be a way out. So one of them stood up and he said, you actually can go back to your wife, you're absolutely fine. And he said, how? This was either Abu Hanifa or Muhammad al-Shaybani, the student of Abu Hanifa, rahimahumullah. I wasn't planning on saying the story, so I can look it up in a moment, but anyway. So he said, how? He said, no, you're fine. So then he said, how? I need some, my heart needs to be content with your explanation. So he said, look, Allah says in the Quran, لَقَدْ خَلَقْنَا الْإِنسَانَ فِي أَحْسَنِ تَقْوِيمٍ. We created mankind in the most perfect form. Mankind's a creation, the sun's a creation, the moon's a creation. But what did Allah say is the best? Mankind. So all the fuqaha said, we accept that, you guys are still married. Anyway, the point is not to go make weird oaths and then come back and ask the imams for some way out. That's not the point. The point is that we're made in a beautiful way. And the beauty of this, if you ever think about it, sometimes a person will fall in love, and there's, by the way, nothing wrong with falling in love. People sometimes like, oh, astaghfirullah, brother, how can you talk about that? Our deen talks about love. The Arabic language, and some scholars say 11 categories of love. Some say 14 categories. Mahabba, ishq, hawa. Hawa is the lowest one. وَالنَّجْمِ إِذَا hawa. Hawa means to fall. Because you fall in love. You fall for someone. Now, it may not be the most long-lasting type of love, but it is still a type of love. So our deen, we see, like someone falls in love, that person, someone might say, they're not that beautiful. But it's not about your eyes. It's about the one who's beholding that beauty's eyes. And yes, you can fall in love after marriage as well. So you see your spouse after marriage and you fall in love, that can happen. But someone else might see that spouse and might not think anything of it. But لَقَدْ خَلَقْنَا الْإِنسَانَ فِي أَحْسَنِ تَقْوِيمٍ. Allah has made our beauty in such a way. You look at these people who are coming out of their, sometimes they're in I was just reading this one story about a man who's 70-something years old, and he is struggling with dementia. It's actually advanced Alzheimer's. And what's interesting is that every day, the person writing the article said, every day, my grandfather sees my grandmother, and he goes to the garden, he picks flowers and says, will you be mine, or something like that. And every day she says, I'm already married to you. And this big smile comes over his face, and the next day the same thing happens again. And you see these things. People are coming out of surgery, and they don't recognize their spouse, but they're already attracted to their spouse. We behold beauty. So just because لَقَدْ خَلَقْنَا الْإِنسَانَ فِي أَحْسَنِ تَقْوِيمٍ, not everyone will always notice the beauty of it. Have you ever seen a special needs child, and there's something pure and beautiful about them, even though the society may not mention it? See some of these kids with cerebral palsy? There's something beautiful about them. It may not be the common beauty we talk about, something is there. So Allah made us in the best of forms. Now, what does this mean? Number one, it means our physical form. With our minds as well. Number two, we have the ability to be the best of people by virtue of our submission. By submitting to Allah, we have the ability to grow closest to Allah. Abu Jahl was Abu al-Hakam, the father of wisdom, because he didn't use his abilities to grow closer to Allah. But when we use our mind, our eyes, our ears, our nose, our mouth, our tongue, our hands, our feet, everything for the sake of Allah, then we become the best of form. Otherwise, you have a brand new car out there, everyone can look at it, but it sits months and years and years and years, eventually it's not going to start. There's no benefit of it. ثُمَّ رَدَدْنَاهُ أَسْفَلَ سَافِلِينَ. But what happens is that over time, some people, they begin to lose their form. How is that? Number one, everything of perfection, goodness, beauty in this world will lose that. Why? Because there's only one thing perfect. That's Allah. كُلُّ شَيْءٍ هَالِكٍ إِلَّا وَجْهَهُ. Everything will be destroyed except for Allah. كُلُّ مَنْ عَلَيْهَا فَانٍ. Everything will come to an end except for Allah. So in this world, perfection has to deteriorate. So we remember the one who will never deteriorate. Beauty has to be lost. So remember the one whose beauty will never fade. Wisdom and intelligence has to go away over time. So remember the one whose wisdom is always going to be long-lasting, is always all-knowing. But then in return for submitting to that one, what do we get? Jannah. And in Jannah, you will always be 32, 33-ish. And you'll always be beautiful. Actually, I have to take that back. You will not always be beautiful in Jannah. Because what will happen in Jannah, Jannah is not 100%. I have to wrap up. I crossed the 30-minute line, so I'm going to wrap up. Jannah is not perfection. Paradise is not perfection. Because perfection has a ceiling. That's 100%. When you're in paradise and you go to see Allah, and I can't wait, may Allah make us all there. And we go to see Allah. And there's like this type of rain that falls. And we come back home. And whoever is at home, let's say our spouse, they'll see us and they'll say, I swear by Allah, you're more beautiful than when you left. You're actually always increasing. There are malls, there's stores in paradise. You go there, I like that face over there. Bam, it comes on you right away. It's amazing. You're not going to be beautiful because beautiful is too much of an understatement. Everything will be there and beyond. But in this world, it will fade. And the other interpretation is that people take themselves to the lowest of the low by disobeying Allah. They disobey Allah and they ruin their souls, which is the true mark of beauty. إِلَّا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ. Except for those who believe and they do good deeds. Except for those who believe and they do good deeds. What is belief? Belief are the common beliefs. To believe in Allah, His books, His angels, life after that, day of judgment, predestination, the good and bad of it, and resurrection. How do you do it? إِقْرَارٌ بِاللِّسَانِ, by stating it. تَصْدِيقٌ بِالْقَلْبِ, believing in it. And then what happens? It comes on your limbs naturally. إِلَّا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا, that belief, عَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ, and do good deeds. It's not enough to just be a good person. You have to worship Allah, حقوق. You have to serve the community, حقوق العباد. You have to take care of those who we are not taking care of. That's how society becomes a whole. فَلَهُمْ أَجْرٌ غَيْرُ مَمْنُونَ. For them there will be a reward from Allah that will never cease. In fact, it will only get better. There's a narration that mentions you'll get an apple in paradise. Actually, it's a very long narration. It's an interesting narration. We don't have time. I'll just go through it very quickly. After this whole display, which is really interesting as well, you'll get this fruit that's delivered to you as a gift. And you're like, I have a bunch of these in my garden. But then the angel will say, take a bite. So you'll take a bite. What's your favorite food? Biryani, what's your favorite food? Halim, what's your favorite food? What is it? Aloo gosht. What's your favorite food? Biryani, what's your favorite food? Philly cheesesteak. So let's say you take a biryani, halim, aloo gosht, Philly cheesesteak mix. Anyone like ice cream here? Throw some ice cream in there. Anyone like makluba over here? Throw that in there. Anyone like, baklava? Throw that in there. Anyone like soft drink? Put that in there. Mix it up and I give it to you. How will it taste? Nasty. But this fruit, you'll take a bite, and all your favorite flavors will fire simultaneously, but not mix. So you get to enjoy the biryani, enjoy the halim, aloo gosht, steak, blah, 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 all at once, but not mixing. It's a multitude of enjoyment, and it doesn't mix. Just do some good deeds. فَلَهُمْ أَجْرٌ غَيْرُ مَمْنُونَ, and it'll never stop, and it'll only increase. فَمَا يُكَذِّبُكَ بَعْدُ بِالدِّينِ. After knowing about this, who can deny the day of judgment? And why would we deny it? Just accept it's going to happen and prepare. Like a kid who denies the final exam, it's not going to happen, it's not going to happen. Guess what's going to happen? They're going to have the final exam, but they're going to fail. But someone's like, God, man, okay, it's going to come. Let me just prepare for it. Then they pass and they go to summer break. They're good. Don't deny it. أَلَيْسَ اللَّهُ بِأَحْكَمِ الْحَاكِمِينَ. Isn't Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and this is a question of marvel and a question to pose to people, a rhetorical question, that isn't Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala the greatest of all the judges, the greatest of all the kings? And it's interesting, when you read this verse, the Prophet ﷺ has told us, مَنْ قَرَأَ بِالدِّينِ فَانْتَهَى إِلَىٰ آخِرِهَا أَلَيْسَ اللَّهُ بِأَحْكَمِ الْحَاكِمِينَ فَلْيَقُلْ, you should say, بَلَى, of course He is. وَأَنَا عَلَىٰ ذَلِكَ مِنَ الشَّاهِدِينَ, and I bear witness to this. But don't just say it. Show it in your actions. We'll stop over here. 4 minutes over is not bad. 4 minutes over is not bad. وآخر دعوانا الحمد لله رب العالمين.